This summary of observations of aerial phenomenon has been prepared for the purposes of re-emphasizing, so obviously they wrote reports before this one, and reiterating the fact that phenomenon have continuously occurred in the New Mexico skies during the past 18 months and are continuing to occur. And secondly, that these phenomenon are occurring in the vicinity of sensitive military and government installations.
Interesting.
Now, what's the date of this report? Ancient mummies, where they found traces of what in their bodies? Cocaine. You really want to get your mind blown. Type up on Google or any search engine the words pale blue dot. I think, Shawn, you'd be really surprised to know that there's documentation, historical documentation, that substantiates what we've been dealing with, and we've been dealing with it for quite a while. So if I have your permission, I'd like to read something out loud. And
yeah, let's do it. Okay. Let's do it.
You have to forgive me. I need my old man glasses because I am old. This is gray, not blonde. I'm an old timer. I'm also a lot slower than I used to be.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I got my kid a trampoline. I try to burn some energy off. I got on there thinking like, oh yeah, this will be great. No.
Yeah. It's terrifying, isn't it?
With my knees and dislocated my shoulder again.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, I don't remember. I don't remember this
anymore
happening.
like I used to. So I'd like to read to you just briefly a very, it's a 2-page official document. And it's when you look at the letterhead, it's Headquarters, United States Air Force, Washington, D.C., with another header, the Inspector General, U.S. Air Force, I think it's 17th District Office of Special Investigations.
Is this before you read, is this the one you were telling me downstairs that hasn't been released to the public yet?
It has, well, a lot of people don't know about it. It has been officially released and downgraded from its classified original form through the Freedom of Information Act. Gotcha. But it's been lost to a lot of people. A lot of people don't even know where it exists, and I've got a whole bunch of these. But let me just read you one, if I can, to kind of emphasize what I'm saying. The subject of this memorandum, basically from the Pentagon, right? Summary of operations of aerial phenomenon in the New Mexico area. And I'm not going to tell you the date yet. In the first paragraph, it was determined that the frequency of unexplained aerial phenomenon in the New Mexico area was such that an organized plan of reporting these observations should be undertaken, right? So they're seeing so many of these, they need to start an investigation. The observers of those phenomena include scientists, special agents of the Office of Special Investigations, Air Force OSI, airline pilots, so civilian pilots, military pilots, Los Alamos security inspectors, military personnel, and many other persons of various occupations whose reliability is not questioned. So these are the best of the best people have security clearances and whatnot, trained observers. And they talk about some of the morphology of these phenomena to include disks or variations thereof. And so in the conclusion sentence, which is paragraph 6, this summary of observations of aerial phenomenon has been prepared for the purposes of re-emphasizing, so obviously they wrote reports before this one, and reiterating the fact that phenomenon have continuously occurred in the New Mexico skies during the past 18 months and are continuing to occur. And secondly, that these phenomenon are occurring in the vicinity of sensitive military and government installations.
Interesting.
Now, what's the date of this report? 25 May 1950.
That's from 1950?
It is from 1950. And there are a treasure trove of these things that anybody can look at now and see. And this is not World According to Lou Elizondo. I'm not telling you this. Mm-hmm. Your government's telling you this. Mm-hmm. Not me. The same government that later on told people, oh, nothing to see here, folks. In secret, they're saying there's a lot of things to see here, folks, and we got to pay attention.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a discovery done, talking about Egypt, about ancient mummies, where they found traces of what in their bodies? Cocaine. Now, cocaine doesn't grow on that continent. It only grew in South America, the coca leaf, right? How in the hell are coca leaf and the derivative of, the processing of, to create cocaine found in some mummies thousands of years ago in Egypt.
So you're saying these ancient mummies were partying with cocaine?
Yeah. Careful. I don't know they're partying with it. But anyways, my point is whether it's used for medicinal purposes or whatnot. But yes, so that is a fact. You can see it. They pulled the traces up. How did that happen if these ancient trade routes didn't exist, right? There was no crossing the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean. So there's a lot of mystery with our ancients and our ancestors that, I think it's foolhardy for us to just be dismissive and say, oh, they were primitive, they were savages. No, they weren't. Look at what the Aztecs were able to do with a calendar and predict even lunar cycles and to include eclipses. Mm-hmm. I couldn't do that now, but yet they were able to do it. So I am not as dismissive, and this is why, going back to ATIP and looking for UFOs, it was important for us to see if there was any context in which we could see any similarity, any inspiration that might have existed between ancient man and perhaps something else. If you look, I tell people, if you really want to get your mind blown, type up on Google or any search engine the words pale blue dot. And what you're going to see is this black, inky blackness, and right in the middle, about maybe 2 pixels large, a little blue fuzzy dot. What that dot is when we sent out the Voyager spacecraft, on one of its last commands, we told it, turn around and take a picture of home, of Earth. Everything you have ever known, you've ever learned, everything you ever loved, everything you ever feared, every person that ever lived in history, every person that ever died, ever, is all on that tiny little blue dot hurtling through the vacuum and inky blackness of space. Now, that's uncomfortable for some people to think about. And then when you think about the size of the universe, right now, most physicists and cosmologists agree that the visible horizon, meaning as far as we can see in any direction, from one end to the end of the universe, is about 40 billion light years. Now, what's a light year? It's the time it takes and the distance traveled by a photon of light in 1 year. So how fast does light actually travel? 186,000 miles per second. That's 7.5 times around our planet in 1 second. Multiply that to a year, and now multiply that to 40 billion years, right? That is an enormous distance, and that's only 10% of the actual size of the universe as predicted now by some scientists, because most of the universe is too big, it's too far away, the light will never reach Earth. Mm-hmm. So now you're talking about a universe 100 billion light years, and human beings, this infinitesimally small speck right in the middle, right? As mind-blowing as that is, if you take one hydrogen atom, Avogadro's number, 6.23 or 6.28 times 10 to the negative 23 in size, that's roughly the same magnitude, order of magnitude, that atom is to us as we are to the universe. Mm-hmm. Meaning we sit right in the middle of the scale of the universe. And mostly we can only interact as human beings with 1 order of magnitude or 2 orders of magnitude up or down. Otherwise, simply the universe is too big or too small. We will never know. And that's where most of reality actually lies. So for us to sit here and say, well, these things, and it can't possibly be this, and we know nothing. Our perception of the universe is so limited, it's like trying to look at the Grand Canyon through a soda straw. Mm-hmm. It's incomprehensibly large and complex, and we're always learning something new about our universe and our place in our universe.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.